So I have to say, I was so excited. I was in one of the villages in Taiwan when Alejo contacted me this summer. I live about 5 months out of the year now in Asia, specifically in Taiwan. So I was in Asia again this summer, and he contacted me about this leadership event. And I always get so thrilled to be able to come back to the US because I get to bring all these wonderful new ideas and get to see the new technologies, the new programs that are being developed, the new standards, metrics, and things. I get to bring that back and share that with you guys who may not have and be as fortunate to have the time and the resources to be able to do some of the traveling. So that you guys know that I really know my business. In the last 18 to 24 months, I have worked with over 30 countries internationally. This isn't just going in for a trip in the day, giving a talk like this. I really do invest the time to get to know the people, the cultures, the economies there, and understand how to best help them. Just in the last week, since I've been back, I have been a busy lady. The ones in red, I have already been in contact with them, getting back involved with those projects. This is very much a passion of mine, and I'm very committed to helping us to really try and push us to the next level in this arena, because some of the things that we've been doing, we've been getting kind of stuck in a few areas. So what I want to do is be able to share with you some of the new directions and movements that we're moving in. I don't want to stand up here and give you a boring research presentation, so I hope that's not what some of you were hoping for with a lot of numbers and research. What I want to do is give you the practicality of the research. So basically, here's the trends and movements that are coming, and here's what's going to be here's what I'm going to be being asked to do as a researcher that's going to affect your world and how it's going to affect that. So I've only got 45 minutes, so I'm going to go through this pretty fast because there's some key things that I want to make sure that you guys are aware of, because I do know they're going to affect your world. Just real fast, because I'm back in the US, I had to take stock what's been going on here in the last few months since I've been gone. I don't know if many of you guys watch, on the weekend CNN has the show Your Money that kind of gives the latest trends for the week and the updates. So I was just watching it this past weekend and seeing, how are we doing financially back here the last few months. Okay, foreclosures, yes, they've fallen, but we still have alarming rates. The latest stat for Illinois was still 1 in 725 homes. I know some of you are from other states. Hopefully your state is not on this list. But these were the top ones with foreclosures. Home prices in the largest 20 cities have risen 12%. Yay! But we are still 23% below the peak that we were before the crash, the 2008 crisis. Chicago was on the top list of having the smallest price increase of 7.3%, which is still great, but it's not great to be a state that's at the top for a small increase. Also, 2.5 million mortgage borrowers no longer underwater. Yay, fabulous. We're digging ourselves out of that hole. But we still have 7.1 million Americans that still owe more than their home is worth, which is not great. We still have a long ways to go. And Illinois was again on that list primarily because of Chicago for being one of the worst areas still for recovery on that. That's the housing front. Unemployment, these are the two big issues that we still really care about and focus on. The new jobs numbers just came out, where we were at with employment. Yes, we're at 7.3%, which was slightly down again, lowest in 5 years. But the bad news was that a lot more people have just dropped out of the labor force and given up. So that's why it went down. It wasn't because of new jobs. There were new jobs created, but it wasn't with the expectations that we had hoped for. So this is not particularly great either. And Illinois, 9.2%. If we include those people back in that just gave up, really the unemployment rates we're looking at is 14% for the US, and then for Illinois, 16%. So that's really kind of the numbers that we should be looking at than what gets put out there in the media headlines. Okay, this is just housing and employment. And we could go on and on about what's going on with earnings, savings and investments, student loans, which is, you know, on everybody's mind. I heard that this morning. Access to consumer and business credit, access to other financial services and products, consumer protection. That list goes on. And this is pretty much the beginning part where I'm preaching to the choir that this is why we're all here, because we know that things are still not where they need to be, and that people, we're here because we want to find out how can we best give the people, the small business owners, the teachers, you know, everyone in our communities, the skills and the tools so that they can empower themselves to increase their own economic and financial security long term. Okay, with this, it blows my mind. I continue to sit in these rooms with these researchers that continue to say we need to ask, does economic and financial education work? You guys are on the front lines. You see this every day. I've seen this in these countries. I don't need data. I know that we need to do that at some stage, and we need to be having the metrics to prove this. But you guys know that are on the front lines that this is working. Why would you be spending the years that you've been spending on this and continuing to make the efforts that you are if you didn't think it was? So what we need to do as practitioners, researchers, those that are having impact on the policy front is we need to get better at branding ourselves, repackaging ourselves, and communicating what we need to do and are trying to do to the wider arena out there that are interested in this effort so that we don't keep asking this question down the road. So this is the part now where I'm transitioning into all the good stuff, lessons that I've learned and where we're at. I picked out 5 key areas, and I'm happy to make this presentation. Are you going to post this presentation? Good, fantastic. Because there's lots of websites and links in here because there's such short time, but you definitely want to be checking some of these things out. These are 5 key areas of where research is going to be headed, but it's also where our field and profession is headed. We're going to talk about core competencies and metrics to help you on the evaluation side. There are tons of new developments on the field of education front, just in terms of new learning technologies and learning platforms. So I want to make sure that you're connected with that if you're not already. We're also going to talk about new financial technologies and infrastructures that are coming down the pike. This summer I got to spend tons of time with international investment bankers. Actually, I'm working on a project for Nigeria and South Africa. One of my tasks was I had to lay out my own international investment bank and what that would look like. And I learned a lot about the new technologies that are coming down the pike just for inside a bank, what that's going to look like. Those types of things are going to affect our field and profession too, so I want to just give you a sneak peek of some of the things that are already here but that are going to be coming our way very fast. And then 4 and 5 I'm going to kind of combine together, and this is kind of lessons learned from my personal experiences in helping countries to set up national strategies for financial education and talking with government officials, the private sector, how we can get better at communicating and repackaging the way we're doing things so that it's more practical and sustainable in the models that we're presenting to them, especially from a funding standpoint. And also, how can we better make the business case to these people that do have the money, that are interested in funding our programs. Okay, so the first one, core competencies and metrics, where we're at right now. Hopefully most of you guys, this first page is going to be, hopefully all of you guys know most of this. I hope. Okay, we are doing fantastic. So 2009, there's been this big push as researchers for us to have gotten involved in this and coming up with core competencies and metrics, which now have trickled down into our big national networks. It's fabulous. I brought copies if you haven't seen them already, but Council for Economic Education just this past year put out national standards for financial literacy. You've got your core competencies and metrics now, especially from an evaluation standpoint. This is wonderful. Jumpstart has their version. You just do a Google for state departments of education. Most of the departments of education now for a lot of the states have come out with their own standards, you'll even see. And then there is one you may not be familiar with, which is the National Financial Educators Council. This one I really like because they also include the financial psychology component and the business component for metrics and core competencies. So it's a little bit more comprehensive and adds, the focus isn't just on the schools and K through 12, and this it helps a little bit more with the adult population. So we've got great lists now for all of you guys with core competencies and metrics, which helps you on the evaluation standpoint. You're not having to pull out as many things out of your hat for what do I evaluate people on, what should be the core content that I should include in my programs. We've also got a number of studies now that are coming out. The buzzword now is capability. We've gone from literacy, education, financial socialization, you know, the list goes on. But the buzzword now is capability and inclusion, which is the access piece of that. The big one that hopefully all of you have heard about is the FINRA Investor Education Foundation study. I'm going to show you that website here in a minute, but you can look up your state and how your state's doing in terms of capability and inclusion. You can also do a Google, and there are tons of countries that are doing their own capability studies that you can, and across these countries, we're all trying to work towards the same things. Same metrics. There may be different cultural aspects and things like that, but for the most part, we're all working towards the same competencies and metrics. So, you know, you can look at leaders on that front are the United Kingdom, Ireland, Iceland, Canada, you know, and I've got a list up there to take a look at. This is FINRA's website. You can just click right on Illinois. We'll pull up a nice little report for you to check out those stats, which can be very nice if you're having to write grant proposals for funders and things like that. Also, on the international front, this is one area you may not be aware of because we're in Illinois, but the OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, they have their own website now for financial education. They have set up and designed international standards for countries. Okay, OECD, their headquarters is in Paris, France. So you're thinking, okay, that's Paris, France. I'm here in rural Illinois at my local community bank or credit union. Why do I care about OECD and the international standards? Because Dan Rutherford, are you still here? Yes, okay. So I work with a lot of his colleagues and meet them at the meetings with the OECD, and they are listening to these international standards, agencies such as his and others, the Treasury, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. We all as countries want to be on the same page so we can start making comparisons across our countries in terms of core competencies and metrics. Individuals like Dan and his colleagues come back. This trickles down into our culture and society and our programs, and it is coming to you. And many of these things have come to you. You just don't know that some of these things are coming from this source. This is just one of a number of international sources, but it's a great starting place for you because from a research standpoint, they have a number of studies that are going on to compare countries. The PISA, which if you're a teacher, you may be aware of the PISA study. This is the Program for International Student Assessment. So when you see those stats of where is the US ranked in terms of math and reading compared to other countries, that's coming normally from this PISA test. They have added in now a financial literacy component. So we can start now ranking where is the US compared to other countries on financial literacy. There's also tons of resources in terms of how countries can set up a national strategy for financial education. So why you're not a country, why should you care about how a country is setting up their national strategy? I can tell you from personal experience in helping countries like Nigeria do that, it's the same That's the macro level. You just take those principles and foundations down to the micro level and adjust them for your own organization. So there's a lot that you can learn from that standpoint too by looking at the resources that they have on their page. This is their website. You can see here the national strategies, financial education and women. They've also got a big section on consumer protection. So I'm not a spokesperson for many of these resources I'm bringing out. I don't get paid by any of them either. I know that was brought up at the last session. I'm just trying to point you in the direction of some of the best practices and the best of the best that's out there, and also some of those that I know are going to, if not already, impacting your world in some way. So this can be a wonderful resource. Okay, so that's core competencies and metrics. So we're doing pretty darn good on that front. Let's move in and talk about topic number 2, which was new educational technologies and learning platforms. This one I get so excited about. Okay, first I have to remind us, because many of us in this room are from the financial industry, that financial education, its roots are in the field of education. I am an economist by training, but I often have to remind myself that the field is, the foundations and the principles are in education. Because of this, many of us have kind of become detached from that field and are not so well connected with the direction that education is heading. Higher education especially, hopefully many of you have heard about these new global universities called like Coursera or edX, where basically you can go online and they hire the top professors from the top universities to teach courses for free to people around the world. This movement is not going to stop. In fact, I have seen and worked with international executives that basically are designing, especially in Asia, their own global universities, because they are telling me, as a university professor, I'm not turning out the students that they need for the jobs that they have. So we're not doing it, so we have to do it. So they are creating their own models and setting up their own global universities in these other countries so that they can create the skilled workforce that they're going to need for the jobs that they need. So what are the movements and trends that are affecting your world now and going to be affecting it? So basically, education just in general, it's becoming so much more open, flexible, and I know right now you don't think affordable, but I can guarantee you in the next 5 years, this is going to shake higher education up, especially when the private sector steps into this, because they are doing a much better job coming up with business models for the financial end of it than like my own university is in terms of how to price this stuff out so that it's very cheap and affordable. And once this happens, this is going to literally change. My university, we're going to have to rethink how we're doing things and what the value is. So open, flexible, affordable education, lifelong learning. So basically, we have to think about in terms of building skills for the lifetime, not just for that profession at that moment in time, but how do you create education and package that for different moments in people's careers and lives. Credentialing. We are now coming up with more ways to signal to employers that you are certified besides just a BA or a PhD. So we are coming up with new ways for this type of education to count and to signal that you do have more skills and qualifications. You're going to see special certifications, degrees. Badging has become a big trend now. Application. The goal here now and movement is we're moving away from the textbook type learning to really doing it. I know the person that spoke, was it George Barani? Maybe I don't know if he's still here, but I loved what you said about the fact of really doing it. And that is where education is headed, is the application and really doing it. Really working with the company and solving the problem. If you're learning about IPOs, really working with Goldman Sachs on the underwriting and how to set that up for an MBA degree. And then new breakthrough technologies, applications, learning platforms. Hopefully I'll have time to mention gamification and what that means for assessments. But this is the movement. There's global universities like Coursera that are out there, so you can get a feel for that. But what does it mean for us in the next 5 to 10 years? We're going to have to think about how we fit into this movement and direction of where education is headed. In terms of access, reach, affordability. This is exciting for us because we're going to have the opportunity to have greater access. And to people, you may be here in Illinois and have the opportunity to be offering financial literacy to people in Nigeria or those countries, you know, all over the world. So from that point, it's very exciting. Quality, value. The certification, more self-sustaining, revenue-generating business models. We need to be paying attention to that more because this is important for us too. We haven't quite gotten this part down on that end. But at the end of the day, imagine this. This is why I get excited. Imagine that basically we decide right now today we're going to set up a global financial literacy university. I'll be the CEO. Hopefully that's okay with everybody. I'm going to hire each of you guys for your particular expertise to teach the best course in the world in your particular area of expertise. And we're going to put together a whole curriculum to teach people around the world about economic and financial literacy. Imagine Financial Literacy 101 being taught to 1 million students around the world. Okay. I am telling you, this is not like science fiction or too far off. I'm telling you, this is like 5 years, if that. So this is incredibly exciting and very doable with the technologies that are out there now. Also, I want to make you aware, because the private sector is stepping into this. Anybody here from Illinois Bankers Association? Okay, so, or EverFi, I didn't see anybody on the list from EverFi, I don't see anybody here. Okay, so this is one company, there are tons of them out there, but I'm picking on these guys because I've worked with them and their product is really good. They are not financial education experts by any means. They have the technology, programming expertise. They are stepping into this arena. And this is affecting our world because if you see the graphics now, the graphics blow your mind. I know many of us still really like Financial Football and all those other good ones. They are good. They are good by every means. But you take a look at the graphics just with this company, and I wish I could share some of the proprietary graphics I've seen on the international front from some of these companies. It's like you're looking at virtual world. It's unbelievable.
That if you subscribe to them, they will brand it to your brand.
Yes, yes, they will. Many of these will, because yes. So, but it's important to become aware of these technologies because, yes, it's in the private sector. This is coming our way very soon. Once these things become mainstream, we're going to be able to have a lot more access and affordability because more people are stepping into this arena. From a cost standpoint, costs start going down. So the more that we can connect with technology companies and build partnerships and invite them to these types of meetings, making sure that they're here, that are offering these types of platforms and building those partnerships, incredible opportunities for us. Okay, that was number 2. Number 3, this is a great segue into new financial technologies and infrastructure. So these are some of the exciting things I got to see, which this gets me so excited too, because this is cool, about what's coming our way. How many of you guys are in the financial industry, like banking sector? Okay, so you guys may already internally be seeing some of these things, but here's the list, and then I'm going to talk about some of these individually. I mean, you guys all know about apps and mobile technology, so I'm not going to spend much time on that. But touchscreen devices, surface technologies, interactive walls. Okay, this is where I'm going to start getting excited. Okay, imagine this whole wall over there is just one big, huge computer screen, okay? One big screen, flat screen. Your clients start coming in, they're watching that screen, they get to touch it, interact with it while they're waiting for you. They get to learn about, maybe, they're coming in I'm thinking about banking because that's where I spent some time on this summer with the banking, but they're thinking about opening a bank account, but they don't have a banking account, like the people in Nigeria. So while they're waiting to open their account and there's a little bit of a line, they get to touch that screen and learn about banking and what it means to have a banking account. Also, they come to your desk, so they're sitting down at your desk. This whole thing right here, this is a computer, the actual tabletop. You don't have any paperwork, anything now, everything, electronic signatures, you're touching everything, showing your client. They can even, look at and learn about things from that table. That's incredible. Imagine, how many of you guys are in credit counseling? Okay. Imagine for credit counseling, for counselors, that's incredible, cool technology. Right there in front of you. Also, what is the future? I got to see the future of what our new bank branches may be looking like. High-tech lounges, like a Starbucks cafe. These are already being piloted, some of these in the US right now. Anybody in the banking industry have experience with these? Or I see Lori, you're shaking. So it's here. This, though, also affects us because we are part of the financial industry, even if we're on the education side and not with a bank. These things, we're gonna start rethinking, what does our office look like? What kinds of technology do we have in there to bring people up to speed on things? What kind of how does that affect their psychology, the look and the feel of these? Some of these things for the banks look like pods where people go into them and have like a little teleconference with their banker. So you don't even have a physical person there. So there could be opportunities for reach where we still have the personal contact. It's just maybe not physical one-on-one. Those kinds of things are coming. The internet cafe. I heard of one bank when I came back to the US and was talking to some of my colleagues about some of the stuff I saw this summer. There's one that sells you can go and get your burrito and do your banking. Anybody? I forgot the name of this bank. Anybody know the name of this bank? I have to say, they were saying it wasn't doing very well. but the thing is, they're stepping outside of the box. I mean, we have to be thinking also, these things on our end about how this affects us.
Just to add a little light to the situation. I work at a not-for-profit agency. Do you have any advice for having to reboot your computer like the time today?
That brings up a good question,
yes.
point, because I know these technologies are on the way, but I think for most of us, our experience is that those seem so far away for us.
And they're not.
But
that's the thing, is that this is where I'm worried for us. I do have a little fear, which is technology is moving so fast. Like the bankers, the people that this is affect can't even keep up with it. The technology people are having trouble even keeping up. My own university knows that this is coming, and we are so far, the train is way over there. And say again?
You gotta be poor. Nothing to laugh about.
No, I know. But the thing is that this is important for us to be retooling. This is a critical time for us. These types of meetings, it's wonderful to see Alejo bringing in people with social media, and the more that we can be aware of these things and bring in people on these topics to get our wheels turning and to prepare and retool, these can have incredible opportunities for partnership, because a lot of times these people I talk to on the international front, and they're here too in the US, they have money. We oftentimes don't have money. And a lot of it is because a lot of times, they have the technology and these experts and things on that front, but they don't have the content expertise. And that's where they're usually struggling with and looking for people to partner with on that end. So the more that we can do on that end, yes?
Angela, I just wanted to mention that, it's not only the content, but it's also, how those, as we as experts should take interest and input in how these technological products are designed.
Yeah.
Because if we look right now at mobile payment, what we're doing, what mobile payment will eventually do is make the payment process that much simpler.
Yes.
That's the goal.
Yes.
So what have we seen already with debit card transactions? that people are buying more. Payment is being displaced from the actual transaction, and that's likely to occur even more when you're able to just wave your cell phone at it.
Yes.
And so, are there ways that we can design those applications
Exactly.
where we can see when I wave that phone that, oh, this is what it's actually going to cost me, that $10 is being taken out of my account, now my account balance is, where's my live account balance?
And we need to be at the table for those discussions as educators, because oftentimes, I can tell you, it's the execs at that table hashing out the business end of it, and the educator is not there. So the more that we can do right now to get hooked in and linked in, there are incredible opportunities for us on that front. So I threw up some pictures just to give you a preview of coming attractions. There's some other things I wish I could show you, but they were proprietary. But there's some very cool technology things on the financial end that are coming. Also, just from an educator standpoint, we're going to be having to put together more lessons geared towards this, that are using these types of technologies. And you're going to see more lesson plans and workshops and trainings come out on your end. So that's an exciting opportunity. It just puts more pressure on folks such as myself who do a lot of train the trainers to make sure to get those resources to you guys. If you're looking for apps and where the action is really happening here in the US, I really think that CFSI is doing some groundbreaking things on that end with their competition and partnering with companies to help design and develop financial apps in our industry that teach people about financial literacy and education, and also on the service and product end. So you can look at those resources. I'm going to skip the gamification because of time, unless, can I have just a little bit more time? Okay, okay. Okay. How many of you guys have heard of the word gamification or gamification? Okay, I'm so happy that there are some hands that are raised. Okay, this is going to rock our world too. That you definitely need to be aware of this type of new technology that is coming. This basically, in a nutshell, is just taking gaming technology and processes and applying that to teach people how to change their behavior in certain ways. A lot of this is being used by major companies right now, Microsoft, a lot of the big companies, to help improve the workplace, employee satisfaction, customer satisfaction, getting customers and clients to change their behavior, health and wellness. It has trickled now into our arena. If you are looking for a great place, the #1 gamification place to go to is Badgeville. So essentially, what you might imagine is a website that we would set up for financial education. They go in, they learn something, and maybe then you ask them to apply something right away, and then all of a sudden it would pop up on their screen. Oh, congratulations, you just completed this. Way to go. You just got the badge for doing this. I know that it sounds kind of corny, but you guys know that there's more of these sites that are popping up, and it makes people feel good psychologically. You feel like you accomplished something. It's free. It's not something you have to charge for. And you can create little certifications out of this. I know for some of the industries and fields. You can see some of the companies right here that are already doing it. That list goes on and on. But stats-wise, by 2016, this is going to be a $2.8 billion industry. That's 2 years away. By 2015, which is just a year after this next one, more than 50% of organizations that manage innovation processes are going to have those processes gamified. So that includes many of us in this room. That's only a few years away that we're going to already be incorporating this stuff in there. So you want to make sure that you try and be aware of those types of things. Okay, can I have just a little bit more time? Okay. I'm sorry. This is good stuff, though. Or at least I think it's good stuff. I hope you guys think it's good stuff. I shouldn't be putting my opinion on that. Okay, the last two things I'm going to combine. These things, I wish I had like a whole hour with you guys, because that's really what it needs. But this is what we need to start basically repackaging ourselves as more industry, like an industry business professionals. I'm an educator at heart. but I interact with a lot of international CEOs, investors, that they have the money and are interested in this arena, but I can't go and give them the grant proposal that I wrote for the university to fund the project. That's not how they think. That's not the language they use. It's not the language, the proposals that you are writing for community grants. That's not the language and the way that they're thinking also. We just need to do a little retooling here, and we are going to have so many opportunities that open up for us on this front too, especially with the technology companies and things like that. So let me give you just this part I'm going to skip. Let me give you, oh, maybe I should go back to this. I have to give you this example to set the stage, and I hate to take up this time, but okay. So how did I start falling in love with Taiwan and keep going back? Okay, I have to say, as a professional, about 5 years ago, I was in a little bit of a dark space. I was doing research. I do have tons of publications. People would think that I was doing really well. I was not feeling so good inside, though. I felt like I was turning out the same publication over and over again. I was going to these types of talks. I would be on a panel. I knew the speakers' presentations by heart. They knew my presentation by heart. I was not feeling good inside. We weren't pushing ourselves to the next level. And I was getting very frustrated. And I didn't know how to do that myself. And then to come and talk to a group like this, how to do that and push you guys to the next level. And I felt like that was part of my professional responsibility. So about 4 or 5 summers ago, I just made the decision, I'm gonna go live in this village in Taiwan for the summer. I need to just recharge, think about what the heck I'm doing. And I was helping these women. In Taiwan, they have these big outdoor markets. I don't know if anyone's from Asia, but these big outdoor markets, these ladies sell vegetables with their vegetable stores or carts out in the market. So I was helping them with small business entrepreneur skills, trying to rethink what the heck am I doing with my life, blah, blah, blah. And lo and behold, this international CEO comes in. He has like 36 different enterprises. I'm in the middle of this village, and he's like, what is this? I'm the only foreigner in this village, didn't speak any Chinese. So he's like, what the heck are you doing here? And we got to talking. And basically what he was doing was, with this group of women who owned the vegetable stores, he basically said, hey, this summer the vegetables were starting to go bad. So he said, I will buy up your vegetables so that they don't go bad. I will put them in my restaurants. And then I will take you, he took us all to his restaurant, taught the ladies how to cook with the vegetables, the health properties of the vegetables. We went back to the marketplace. The next day, the customers are coming in. It's like, oh, your husband, he has problems with his stomach. Oh, he can eat this vegetable. Okay, so this was going on. And then the CEO would come by and say, hey, come with me to the Jade store. So we'd go to the Jade store. He would teach them how to buy good jade, so that then he could buy that and put that in his department stores. Then the clothing store, teach them how to make good quality clothes. And put that then in his department stores as well, or his clothing stores. So there was all these different enterprises that he has, and he went to all the different little shops in that community. So I left that summer. I went back. The next summer, in 1 year, I kid you not, the economic and financial status of that whole village community had increased. It was like so noticeable to me. And even the products that they had, the clothing they wore, the jewelry they wore, that is, at that moment, I did have like that life-changing moment. It wasn't that first summer there. It was the second summer when I said to myself, this is what I am always working for. This is what we're always trying to achieve. That's the ultimate goal that we're always trying to get to, is we want to raise up our communities and the people in those, and everyone, not just, you know, this target population. We want all to build everything up together and have that flow in a meaningful economic way. And so that we're all helping each other too. The strength of that community is unbelievable. People, the relationships that have been formed out of that. Okay, we took that time because this is the kind of mindset, the big lesson that I've learned in bringing that back here to the US, and how we need to be rethinking some of the things that we're doing. And part of that is, what are the root problems that we're trying to solve for many of our clients? And a lot of times, we are solving the symptoms of the problem, but not really getting at the root of the problem. And that's what I saw through that example. That I spent time giving them the small business entrepreneur skills, but I wasn't solving the root problem. And if we can see better where we fit in to that bigger picture and we see ourselves in a more meaningful way, and we see how we can contribute to that bigger picture, it will help us to better package ourselves and to be able to communicate to those partners, and maybe partners we never even thought about. That we do have meaning for you, even though you might not think about it, but it's because this is how we fit in. So I do think that's something in terms of thinking about the practicality and the sustainability. And I am gonna wrap up very quickly. I know you need to do this. No, I know. Okay.
He won't hurt you. He's friendly.
Okay. Okay. So this also comes to another big lesson that I learned. So how can you do this? Actually do it. The big lesson that I learned is we have been structuring our programs a lot from a forward standpoint. We actually need to think backwards. And this is what I mean by this, because we were struggling so many years here on the metrics, when now I realize in just this past summer, we didn't need to struggle. And the reason is because all we need to do is start with the outcome you want. Just literally start with the outcome you want. What is it? Don't think about resources or anything. Just what is it that you want from that community? What is it you want to achieve? Then build the model. Thinking about what is the direction that your local governments are heading in, the investors, the funders, thinking about the resources that you have, thinking about all these other things in terms of the people's needs and some of the specific financial education needs that might go into that. But start first with the outcome. That's your metric. And then, okay, we all know, so that's the dream. That is your dream. Then you just keep building towards that. It's not gonna, your dream is never perfect. It's like your house. You get your dream house, but you gotta do some fixing up to it little by little and make some adjustments to it. It is the same way with our programs. What's happening is we're starting at the beginning. We know there's this financial education need, so let's put a program in place and start moving forward. Oh, what are our metrics? What is it we're trying to achieve here? No. Start from the very beginning. What is it you want? What is the outcome that you want? You build your model. You lay it out. Literally write it out. And then you just make adjustments and tweaks along the way. I can guarantee you from personal experience and having to go through that exercise this summer and having to set up my own international bank, I learned so much from that, because when you do this exercise, you learn more about your own organization. You have to think then, do I have the right management in place to achieve that outcome? You have to think about your cost management in a much deeper way. You have to think about what is the value that I bring to the table with what I'm doing to achieve that outcome. These are all the things that those key investors do want to see. And you can think about it in a much more meaningful way in how you package the proposal and make your business case. So talking about that, and then I am done. Okay? But it is the language that you use. You have to think about that in terms of these, think of the people, we call them stakeholders. How does it change your mindset if I call your stakeholders now, these are your investors? How does it change your mindset? How does it change your mindset? Think about your investors. What do they want to see? They want to see a return on their investment. Think about the vocabulary that we use instead. It's just a little bit of tweaking and packaging, but it presents ourselves in a very business professional way to be building strong partnerships with the private sector. The bankers, I know on the international front, love this, Because if you just look at a banker's annual report and what they have to put together and the types of numbers they have to report, this is the type of proposal that you're going to be positioned to be able to write. So think about the value, the sustainability. Key buzzwords. They also want, what do your investors also want to see? They also want to see some, not just that you're achieving maybe that goal of that program, but also that you're maybe having some external impacts in terms of that you're being socially conscious, ethically conscious, environmentally conscious. So think about the values of your organization beyond just, you know, what do you want your organization to be about? It's not just about the education. That's how you create your value in terms of how you package yourself. So this one we don't need. You'll have the PowerPoint. So I think, hopefully I'm leaving on a good note here, but what I'm hoping that I've got you thinking, hopefully I've got you thinking about how these things change maybe the way that we're currently doing things or thinking about them, how maybe we're defining some of the things that we do, how we're actually doing it in terms of delivery and the mechanisms for that. And hopefully, I feel like these types of dialogues and discussions, it'd be wonderful at future conferences, I'm looking at you guys, but to have a conference where we can have discussion about these things and debates about these things, because this is how we're going to push us to the next level. And brainstorming and forming partnerships even with those of us in this room to achieve some of these things. So, okay, on that note, I'm going to leave, and thank you so much. So thank you. And I am happy, this is my contact information. I am happy to talk with any of you guys. If you call me, email me, I work with a lot of different groups and organizations. And I'm happy to do whatever I can for you guys, because I really do care about this field and the profession, and I really care about helping our clients to be in a better place. So, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Angela. I thought that was fantastic. Yeah, it's a